So, we've spent the entire week providing value to members, listening to members, recognizing members, celebrating the various benefits for members. And it really gives me a great privilege and honor to now segue to a session between our board chair, Mr. Vann Langston, and also our new executive director. We're thrilled to have Tim O'Connell with us. They're going to spend some time together in a Q&A and talking a little bit about the future of NCRGEA and retirees. Their session will be recorded today, also be referenced in our upcoming newsletter. So sit back and enjoy. And Chairman Langston, take us away.
Thank you, Brian. This is one of the happiest days in my 10 years on the board. Tim O'Connell is your new executive director. Just a great background, more than 30 years with nonprofit organizations. Most recently, he was a director of advancement operations, membership, and annual giving for the North Carolina Museum of Art. I told him if they'd paid him for every letter in that title, he'd be a millionaire. In the past, he's also served as the Associate Executive Director of the North Carolina State University Alumni Association and Executive Director and Vice President of Operations for the YMCA of Northwest North Carolina. We're thrilled to have you, Tim.
Thank you, Van. It's great to be here.
Thank you for saying yes.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
I've got a bunch of questions for him. We want you to know everything you possibly can about him. So let's start first with this one. Got a vast amount of experience in nonprofits, advocacy, and communication. Can you tell us a bit more about your background?
Sure. I do feel fortunate to have gotten into the business in the sense that it's given me the opportunity to serve in a lot of communities in a lot of different ways. My education, all from public institutions here in North Carolina, has really made a difference.
Yeah.
So, looks like we're sharing a microphone. We're already working together, Van. So, so the opportunity just to gain an education here in North Carolina has really meant a lot to me. And from those experiences, I went to work. For the YMCA, I was in grad school at NC State studying, at the time, agriculture economics, and that just changed my course. What was a part-time job while I was in grad school turned into a 21-year career, so feel very fortunate for that. Got to do a little bit of everything from, teach swim lessons, day camps, work on programs, things of that nature. And a big part of the work we did was advocacy for health and wellness and community benefits. So that was, kind of, I cut my teeth a little bit on the advocacy pieces there. That work really was impactful to me and kind of gave me a lot of the skills I feel like I have. From there, as you mentioned, I worked at NC State, and I kidded with my children. I said, when you go to college, I'm going to go to college. And I was true to my word. As they were packing up for their first years of colleges, I was on campus. And it was just a pleasure to serve the alumni and work with students. We had one of the largest student organizations on campus that I got to work with. So it was just, being an educator, you understand how impactful that can be. From there, as you mentioned, the museum, and I do think North Carolina is fortunate to have the cultural resources it does and the natural resources. So to be able to serve in that capacity is just I'd say a marvelous challenge. I did begin just about the time COVID began, so it was a marvelous challenge. And if you haven't been to the museum, please go visit. Go visit your other parks and other things in North Carolina, because we live in a great state.
We do. Thank you. Just a minute. I thought y'all might be interested, and when we did a wonderful search led by Martha Sue Hall Search Committee, as we checked his references, this is something people said who worked with him. Great guy, got results because of excellent people skills, as good as I've ever seen with processing information and relating to people. One person said, I learned more under Tim's leadership than anybody else I have ever worked for. So I want to congratulate the search committee led by Martha Sue for finding an amazing catch. And we're going to pick up now with some more questions about his own background. I will tell you, as one of the people that helped interview him, one of the things that caught our attention and also the staff's attention right off the bat was your speaking to the issue of public service. So I'm going to give you a chance to talk to our members about that, if you would.
Absolutely. On the topic of public service, I do think, we have high expectations in North Carolina. We want clean drinking water. We want our children educated. We want fire, police, services, first responder services. We expect, for those that need assistance, we want our communities to take care of them. And that's the work that the public servants do every single day. So, the thing I'm most excited about this job is honestly the opportunity just to share gratitude because of what public servants have done for the state of North Carolina. We live in one of the top states in the country, and that is so much because of the work of what public servants have done. And that, it's time to say thank you. So, thank you to the teachers, the educators, the firemen, the policemen, the administrators that are working, managing the data for us. There's so many folks. Housekeeping, I cannot speak enough about people that have worked in environmental services and housekeeping through, especially through the pandemic, the work they've done. So many people that I now will have the chance to say thank you to, and I think that's really important in public services. People who choose to go into public service do it very often for selfless reasons, and we need to honor that.
Yeah. Thank you. What are you most excited about on taking on this role?
I think I
Hit
it there, but with the gratitude component, I think they say it's the secrets to a long, healthy life is gratitude, and I just think you wake up, and the easiest way to experience the work of a public servant is get up in the morning. They say you should drink a glass of water first when you get up. Somebody spent the night up making sure that water was clean and safe for you to drink. So every morning, if you just want a simple, thoughtful way to start your day with gratitude, drink a glass of water and remember how it got to your house.
Good. What are your greatest hopes and aspirations for the association in the coming years?
Definitely awareness. I want folks to understand and know the organization, what it's about, and to be part of it.
Right.
The work, it will go on, and we need lots of folks to get that work done.
Yeah.
So we need our retirees in the local and state government to participate. We need those folks. So getting the word out about the NCRGEA is really going to be important, because I think we don't want it to be the best kept secret, and
right.
we don't want the resources that our members have to the community not to be known. So I think the important thing is for us to be known, so we can provide service to our members at the same time our members to come together to do the work of the organization.
I wonder if I could build on that a minute. They say the best advertising is word of mouth. There's 66,000 of you out there who can advertise and help grow this organization with Tim's support. So I hope you'll take that seriously. We want to grow. We want to have more power so we can protect your pension and health care. You actually are working for free right now.
Volunteerism is important.
That's right. His first day is June the 15th, but he was happy to come in and do this. So my question, Tim, on June the 15th will be your first day at work. What do you plan to do?
I said in my interview, but I'd start with people. I'll say this again during this time, but this organization has done such a great job, especially going through COVID. The staff, the board, cannot say enough about the work the board has done. And I would say they did not just survive, but they've thrived during this period. And they've adopted new things, such as this conference, which is just wonderful. But they've really stepped forward. So spending time with the staff, getting to know them, because they are so committed to this organization, and the board members as well. So going through that. And then our great lobbying team, they're on my calendar. They were asking how early I was going to get in and could they meet, because they are working hard on that short session right now.
Yep.
And they've got some things that they would like to run by me, and they're going to get back out there and do the work, working towards, for our members, especially it sounds like getting some COLA may be a possibility after that morning session. So, like they said, call your representatives now. So
I'm going to guess that Tim's going to be putting you guys to work even more to advocate for us. There's power in numbers and messages. So I think Tim is coming to us as we think about what's new about retirement. What's different about people who are retired right now than, say, 10, 15 years ago?
The exciting thing is, folks are living longer. And I think right before one of my interviews, I had spent the weekend riding a bike with a 72-year-old state retiree who kept on almost dropping me. And so I would say, retirement, I can remember my father, when he retired, he got a rocking chair. Not many folks are getting rocking chairs right now. They're looking forward to that next stage of life and what's going to be new in their lives. And I think that's exciting. So I think, a big part of the work we want to do is make sure we're showing the opportunities in that way. So these retirement years are really enriching a time for new growth and things like that. So I think that's, retirees are looking, going, well, I very well may be retired for 20, 30 or more years.
As long as I worked.
So that's some great time to learn something new, to do something new, to see something new. So I think we want to be part of that, the vitality of our retirees. So I think that's how, retirement's a little bit different. So
it is, and which will call for different services from us over and above just battling for pensions and health care. We want you to live a better life as a consequence of this organization, a better life over a much longer period of time. So the next 50 years of this organization will deal with different situations than the first 50 years did. And Tim is the perfect person to come in with his background in order to deal with that future, perhaps in a different way. Now I'm going to get into, as the old saying goes, stop preaching and commence to meddling. We want to know a little bit about who you are outside of work.
Okay. A big part, and I think a lot of folks, is you raise your family. And even though my children are grown, they're still a big part of our lives. My wife, Beth, and I, we've been married almost 32 years. She is actually, I wouldn't call it a midlife crisis, but she is actually, after working in corporate communications for nearly 25 years, is working on her teacher certification. So she's going to be getting that coursework. My daughter is wrapping up her last day in the classroom, so she's excited and a little bit sad about seeing her students, especially when they were fifth graders, move on. So, I'm really proud of the work she's been doing as an educator here in the public school systems. And my son is a recent graduate from NC State in horticulture, and he's putting that degree to work over in Europe and learning lots, but he's working as a landscape designer in Spain. So exciting, time to live some life as a 22-year-old, seeing the world a little bit. So, but, for me, it's amazing how I've got so into gardening. I think especially through the pandemic, if we'll go out there and watch a flower grow hourly. And my tomatoes, I checked on them just half hour ago. So I really enjoy gardening. I keep bees. That is my.
Oh, wow.
I will sit out my backyard and in the middle of 3 or 4 hives and just sit there and watch bees. If we get some free time, we enjoy all things outside. So I enjoy biking. Love to go fly fishing when I can. We spend a lot of time on the water, things like that. So just very, whole family is very outdoorsy. We just like to be outside. So that's how I spend my time.
Good. So you are not only appreciate public servants, you're married to one, and your daughter is one.
Very true. Very true. So and the work, especially our educators, especially. I just drove by a local high school's graduation. It's an exciting time for many, especially today. So I know teachers, it's a mixed blessing on the last day of school. Yeah. So they're looking forward to the summer. At the same time, I'm sure they've had some special students that they're going to miss.
As a former high school principal, I can tell you the teachers look forward to summer way more than the students.
That's true.
So actually,
I can believe that.
Yeah. I'm going to drill down on the beehive thing for a minute.
Sure thing.
Tell us why that's important that people have beehives now.
Oh, sure. So I think, the way I got into it's a great way is there's a movie, Henry Fonda, Yuli's Goal, saw it years ago. And I was like, wow, beekeeping, how cool. I even had a high school teacher that taught chemistry that he was a beekeeper. So I had this distant interest in it. And I took a class actually through the extension services. So shout out for NC Extension. And I learned a lot about, just beekeeping and all that. Started doing it, and then the more I learned, the more fascinated I was. But of course, there's the obvious is the pollination. Yeah. They say, it's basically 2 out of every 3 bites you take is, thank a bee for the pollination work they do. Yeah. So it's, they're also just good barometers on how well your environment's doing. So if if you don't have bees in your yard, maybe take a look around and try to figure out why that's not. So, plant pollinator gardens. I think that's things like that. So, it's just something I look at bees. I see relations between a healthy hive, a healthy organization. Yep. So I, sometimes when I'm out there staring at the hive, I'm not necessarily thinking about the bees. I'm thinking about how people work together.
That's right.
And how do you build a strong community, a strong organization? It's good leadership within
That's
a
right.
hive.
That's right. Great lessons to be taught.
Yes, so great things there.
Tell us a little bit about how you plan to connect directly with our members to be sure you're serving their needs.
Lots of ways. That's a good, so I think the important thing is, we do have this new digital platform that it's an opportunity, especially for folks that are not close by. So we're definitely ramping up on our digital possibilities. At the same time, between myself and I was just talking to Josephine, one of our staff members, we will be on the road a lot. So I love North Carolina. I love all parts of North Carolina. I've lived, in here, and I've lived in the Winston-Salem area. And I just think it's, this great state, the best way to know it is to know the people. Yep. And to know, to get to know our retirees, and know what's their needs, their concerns, and also just make sure we are rallying, in our advocacy efforts is so important. So, I will say it again, is our Jack and the lobbying team spoke to that, but we need everybody to get involved. And your legislature would much rather talk to you at home, back home, than when they're as busy as the session is. You should call. You should stay there, but they definitely want to speak with you. That's why they chose their.
That's right.
Their roles.
Okay. What do you think are the biggest challenges the association will face in the coming years?
There's in the world. I think it's just how we get people to come together. What we're learning is, and we're going through this time of this morphing of people and technology, and what's the right balance on that? Mm-hmm. So I think all organizations are working on that now. And how do we find that right balance between just, being in the room with somebody and also, harnessing the power of technology to stay connected and share information more seamlessly. So I'd say that's going to be one of those challenges that we will work on and continue to work on. But there's also great opportunity for that and great connection, with those things. So, for the organization, it will always be, how well are we advocating for our members? Yeah. And that's going to be really important. So as much as possible, we want to change the narrative around what public service is. I think it's really important to the country to, and, for North Carolina, to not only honor our retirees, but attract the most talented pool that we can to these important positions, because great people work in government, and we want the best, just like any other. A tech
Sure.
company comes, they want the best.
Yep.
So we want the best for North Carolina.
Okay, all right. How will you measure the success of the association?
You know, there's some clear metrics, but I do think it's when we see the power of coming together collectively, I think that's the most important thing that we have to look at is, how are we reaching members across the state, and that's going to be really important. So there's
Yes.
all sorts of metrics, both, you can check off how many people come to your meeting. You can
Right.
also look on, how many views are we going to get off
That's right.
off our YouTube channel. So those ways we'll use those metrics, but we're really looking at the collective power of our retirees to voice.
Yeah.
And that's the potential for this organization.
So you see yourself as the person that sort of facilitates the members out there being able to carry the message to their legislators back home, for example.
Absolutely. I think that's, I hope our members feel empowered,
Yeah.
but if not, we've got great tools to help you
Yeah.
feel more empowered. So the advocacy sessions that were just done earlier and how to do that, I think are very helpful and should give you some courage
Right.
to go out there and
Yeah.
meet with your representative.
Right now, I want to put in a commercial plug. In order for Tim to be able to connect directly with you, we need your email address.
Yes.
Without that, many of our plans for marshaling 66,000 people, they can't work because sometimes you need to be able to send out a note and have you guys call that day. So just using U.S. mail won't work. So if your email address is not in our collection, and right now we have about a third of our members we have email addresses for. So I'm hopeful that by the end of this year, we can get a much higher density email list so that we can help you guys fight for yourselves. So I'm sure you'll be hearing from Tim on that and lots of ways you can get that email address in. Let's see, if we got another question here. Tim said was I going to throw him a fastball? I'm not going to do that. Our current retirees, the new ones coming out right now, live in a different world, didn't they, than many of us lived in. They live in a digital world. Their work was digitally based. So how can we utilize that skill set they have to forward the mission of this association?
I do think education is a big part of what we need to be working on, especially around technology, for seniors in general, because there's some great things that we can now access. I'm not sure if anybody else has used telehealth type. I had an appointment a couple months back. I was having a little tickle in my throat.
Yep.
I actually used my app. There was a website there. I hit a button. Within 2 hours, I had a doctor in my living room, just like they used to. Only this time it was through technology. But diagnosing me, and I sent my prescription in, and it was all great. So I think there's opportunities, to learn.
Yes.
And especially this group that has worked with technology their whole life, they can help us to help to get more people comfortable with it. At the same time, there's some ease of life that can come with it. That especially as we age, there's opportunities just to stay connected and to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of exciting. I'm taking a class right now through Wake Tech, and it's just amazing with the platforms and how it's I've been taking courses, I'm going to go for 35 plus years, and
Right.
it's amazing just how the learning methods have changed.
Yes.
And as an educator,
Yep.
but it makes learning easier and more approachable, and I think that's one of the great things coming from technology, and we always should be learning.
As you build on that, when we first began, we were primarily fighting for pensions and health care. But as you've heard, the life of retirees is much more elaborate than that. We will always fight for pensions and health care. But you're going to find us, under Tim's leadership, improving the quality of your life outside of those two things. For example, I think you'll find us in the future spending more time advocating for things like broadband in your community, but you can't access a lot of this without broadband. Interacting with Social Security, advocating for you in that regard. The telehealth, some of you live in counties with no hospital, and sometimes the doctor is an hour away. As we get older, that becomes a great barrier, just getting to the doctor. That's where the telehealth comes in.
Mm-hmm.
From my own experience, my wife has had a fall. She's at home physical therapy. A box arrived in the mail. It has in it a stethoscope, OSAT, about 4 medical devices. You hook it up on your computer. She takes it every day. It goes to a location, and they know everything about you and can call a doctor or whatever that you might need at a given moment. That's the future I think we all are going to be looking at before it's over, and we want to be part of that. And Tim's the guy to lead us there. He comes out of a sort of digital, more modern background than many of us, so we're looking to Tim to lead us forward. I'm wondering, are there any questions from our watchers? All right, he's looking it up right now.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess we've explained it so well that didn't need to ask questions. It says here, one of his references says, performed great under pressure and stress. Well, that's good.
Well, I hope to continue with that. I hope the current staff say the same thing.
So I'm wondering, Tim, if you've got some parting comments that you would like to make to this association.
Sure. I'll begin by just saying thank you. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in this week to learn more about this great organization. I'm saying thank you to the board again for the work they've done to bring this to fruition. Definitely thank you to the staff. They are tireless and working, and they loved just reaching out to our members. So huge thank you to the work that they have been doing and will continue to do. The big thing that excited me about this job was the chance to just again honor and show gratitude to our public servants. And I think we need a new narrative around the work of public service because the work that they do is so important. And I just think we need to make sure that is heard and that is expressed, and that it's just not this association championed the work of public service and the retirees from public service, but we need our entire community to understand the work and the importance of the work that they do. I heard there was one community where they couldn't get a clean glass of water, and that's you don't know which you have till it's gone is a good way of saying it. So I just think the work they do, we need to champion it. So not only that we attract new people into the field, but we get the best people in the field. For our retirees, I think the state of North Carolina, we've made a promise and a commitment to our retired state and local government employees, and I just think we need to make sure we honor that because we believe in we're a state of honor and goodness, esse quam videre. So we hold true to that. So I think that's really what I want to make sure is heard. As we kind of continue on, I hope you will look at ways that you can become more involved as an advocate for this organization. So, the job and the work to be done, somebody says if you have a microphone out, make sure you ask somebody for something. I'm asking you to get involved with, with advocacy efforts, because that's what we need. That's good for everybody, and for you to be involved. Also, when you talk about learning new, something that sort of excites you, gets you out of bed, advocacy is a great way to kind of get to that. The big thing I also want to say, I want to thank everybody who's been part of this. So we've had lots of sponsors to be part of this. We've had, our messages from our governor, from our treasurer, from our representatives. We've had plenty of our partners here at the NCRGEA step up and do some great programs. So that's being shared as well. So just thank you to everybody who's supported this week. A couple housekeeping items before we kind of close out. There's a post-conference survey will be sent out to you. This is our first foray into this world of a digital conference. We want to hear from you. And I think that's, the best way is go ahead and complete that survey, and just know what you say matters. And that survey is the easiest and the best way to do it. So you'll get that link. If you've registered with us and we've got your email, we'll get that out to you. There's even a nice QR code there. And boy, I sure love those things. And then the last couple things, just as we close out, I will be beginning on June 15th. And there's just going to be some opportunities for you, again, to be involved. Please reach out to me as soon as I get my business cards and an email. I'm looking forward to connecting with you. So just excited to be part of this organization again. And thank you to everybody. And it's been a great week, and I'm very appreciative to be here.
North Carolina. We call it home, and it's no secret that North Carolina is a great state to retire to. And man, they're coming as fast as they can, any way they can, to North Carolina. Now, what you may not know, if you're one of the hundreds of thousands of state or local government employees, North Carolina is a great state to retire from. Maybe you want to drop your line in by the lake bank or hike on a mountain trail. Maybe golf is your thing. I know, some saltwater fishing. It's all right here in North Carolina. Now, we all agree that retirement shouldn't be stressful or complicated. And here at the North Carolina Retired Governmental Employees Association, we are dedicated in finding the best benefits to our state and local government retirees. So welcome to our webinar, and get ready for some very important information that's gonna benefit you. You've made a living. Now it's time to make a life.